Hello, Holistic Chamber of Commerce family. Welcome to today's Member Spotlight. I have with me Frances Pullin and a little bit about her. She's going to talk about how to love the you in you. So a little bit about Frances. She's been on her own spiritual journey throughout her lifetime. It was the transitioning of her 33-year-old son of a heart attack 21 years ago that propelled her forward. Since then, she studied many modalities and has settled on a few: automatic writing, hypnotherapy, mediumship, and channeling. She now is passionate about teaching others how to love themselves. Welcome, Frances.
Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. So since this is titled Love the You in You, let's just dive into why is it so important? Why do you feel it's so important to love yourself inside and out?
Years ago, when I met Amadeus Mozart, who is a guide of mine who I channel, I was told that my soul's purpose was to teach others to love themselves. At first, I was overwhelmed. I said, I can't do this. It's too much. And they said, don't worry. We've got lots of soldiers doing this. Just do it. So I proceeded to go into my own shadow self. And we call it a shadow self because it kind of hides inside and sometimes it perks up and you say something out of the ordinary or you do something out of the ordinary and you wonder where that came from. So through this shadow work, you learn forgiveness of yourself first and foremost. Anything you did in your lifetime, if you made your father scream at you because you weren't doing the dishes properly, forgive yourself. It seems so silly, but it sometimes lingers in our mind that this was really important. It's coming up now when I'm 72, which right now I'm 75, but I went into the depth of my childhood, my growing up, my first marriage, my current marriage, which is only my second, and it's 46 years old. What things kept popping up for me? Why did I need to go back and forgive me and forgive them, whoever them were at the moment, because love is so important. And if we don't love us, how do we love others? How do we receive love if we don't know what it is? So that's been my soul's purpose, even before I knew it. And I embrace it. I've written a book about that experience, loving the me and me. I teach classes. I have events coming up in the new year to have an online retreat where we take 3 hours on Saturdays for a month and we explore. We explore all those things and we talk about. It's a safe place to talk about. You know, the day I stole the money from the penny bank, that weighs heavy in my mind and it blocked me from thinking I deserved to have money in this lifetime. Huge. That was very huge. And I didn't know it still existed inside my subconscious mind. So I use hypnotherapy. I use my psychic skills, mediumship skills, my ability to get to the matter and discuss it with love.
For someone listening to this, it seems like self-forgiveness is a hard thing to accomplish because, you know, that's what we're talking about. Like, it sounds like the first step is we need to forgive ourselves in order to fully love ourselves. But that seems very challenging for a lot of people. So what would you say to those that are watching this that's like, oh, I've been trying to forgive myself for years for all of these things and it's just, you know, not working?
It is the most important thing. You hit the nail on the head, Laura, as always. loving you and forgiving you. First, you have to figure out somehow what you're forgiving yourself for. And we don't always know, but we break it down into little bits and pieces. In hypnotherapy, you can go into, let's say, the first 5 years of your life. What did you do wrong that got you in trouble with mom and dad? They're usually the person you get in trouble with because they're trying to teach you to be the best you can be. And so if they say, stop doing that, and you continue doing it, and you know it annoys them, but feels good to you, go back and visit that. Find out why you needed that power in that moment to anger them, to take their punishment. Were you looking for punishment for something in a past life? It's deep, it's extraordinary, but finding those spots where we learn to forgive the little things, it makes our everyday life so much easier. Because we can look at others and somebody cuts in front of you in line and you're a little agitated and you stop yourself and say, oh, why did they do that? Is their mother sick in the hospital? Did they get fired an hour ago? It's not all about you. It's about the world you live in and creating an atmosphere where you can live in harmony. So if you're harboring these ill things inside of you and not bringing them out and not expressing them and not embracing them, how can you become a more compassionate person? Mm-hmm. How can you become the person you want others to know?
And you talk about people not always being aware, in your example, someone is, rude to you in the store and it triggers you. It could not be about you, but as well as I, sometimes it actually reminds us of somebody that we knew in some form of trauma that is still lingering there. And what you were talking about, why your service is so valuable, is it uncovers those things that we're not actually making a connection to. We might have an idea as to, I feel guilty about these things, but then in further digging, I'm sure you uncover things that people are like, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize that, but yes, that's so accurate.
Yes, I do. I get that all the time, and I don't like to expose people. So I continue to expose myself. I have an incident in my life right now where I have some impatience for my husband. He's been off and on sick for 21 years with all kinds of terrible things and little things. And I just discovered this week that so did my mother. My mother was what they called in the day a hypochondriac. So I lived with her constantly wondering if she was really sick, if she was going to die and leave me before it was time. I had a lot of deep-rooted emotion, and he was getting the brunt of it. And it wasn't fair, and it wasn't nice. And so very gently and peacefully, I sat him aside one night and I said, I apologize. And you guys, this is really important to apologize. Swallow that pride, apologize. And I said, it's not you I'm angry with. It's my mother. Now, my mother's been gone for 19 years, but she and I have this great relationship since she's passed, and she's helping me write my new book. She wants to title it Loving the You in You from the Mother's Point of View. She wants me to understand her side of the story, and I love it. So that's what we're starting. But you see how I took it out on the wrong person. And I had to go back in and talk to my mom. and explain how I felt about her illnesses and her exploratory surgery and the fear it gave me of ending up without a mom way too early.
Mhm.
So I hope that
Yeah.
explains a little
Yeah. So much of this stuff I think is subconscious or maybe, unconscious, however you want to term it.
about 99.9.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, I am doing that. It's really hard to see ourselves. And I know that a lot of times people are afraid because they're afraid to find out these things about themselves. But like me personally, I believe that if I can like put on, my courage panties and say, okay, I'm going to do this. Just let's uncover it. To get to the other side of that would be so freeing and rewarding and healing too.
All of those things. And yet, some of them are so darn small,
Mm-hmm.
but they're eating us up because we don't know they're small.
Mm-hmm.
We think they're just giant things. Oh, I was this horrible person and I have to go in and look at this dark side of me. Well, it's not always dark.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think worrying about my mother is dark. I think it's valid. But I didn't know I worried about her. And it's come full circle by getting upset with my husband and digging into why I was upset with him.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't doing anything but living his life. And it's maybe he did bring these things on himself because that's somehow what we believe in spirituality. But he won't let me find out why he brought them on. So he's staying locked in that little cocoon, and I'm picking away at it little bits at a time. I don't have to do that for him. I'm doing it for me because it's helping me to be kinder to him.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody has to be responsible for their own personal growth.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can't judge him.
Right.
It's his journey. He picked it.
Yeah.
He picked to
Yeah.
be sick. And guess what? I picked him.
Yeah.
I picked
Uh-huh.
I picked my mother.
Okay, so your magical expertise here is helping people uncover those things that they are not forgiving themselves for. Once that process is done, I can just hear people saying, yeah, but like once I know, how do I forgive myself? Is this something that like you cover in your book, or is this where like the coaching comes into play?
all of all of it. It starts with the book, I think, because then you understand me and that I'm not threatening and that I'm gentle and kind and I did the work. And that's important to know the person you're working with did the work. The other thing that comes into play is the person may not even know. And so we walk through certain eras of their life where they discover things. And it's not threatening because I'm not judging them. I'm just walking with them. I'm helping to guide them. But what Amadeus has preached to me over and over, heal and love yourself. Have the world love themselves. And you can heal the world. So imagine if you loved you and I loved me, and we spread this energy throughout everybody we touched. And then 7,000 other people are on the same journey of teaching love and self. Wow. Wow. Would you forgive that man who stepped in front of you in line and step back and breathe and not make a scene? That's peace. We can create peace on earth. And as a child, I had a favorite song, Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with me.
I remember that song.
It was so popular, and it still gives me chills. I didn't know why I loved it, but I'm trying to live it now. Let it begin with me. Let me help you. And if I'm not the right person, let me help you find the right person.
Mm-hmm.
You see, there's enough for everybody. There's enough healers to heal everyone. And if a personality doesn't mesh, don't stop. Look for a new personality.
Mm-hmm. This is such powerful work. You mentioned it earlier, but let's just kind of shift to, we have a few more minutes left. Let's just shift to how you work with people. Is it mostly one-on-one? You mentioned like workshops, retreats. You also have a book. Where can people find your book? So just kind of talk about the various ways that people can learn from you and work with you.
I suggest meditation. And yes, I do offer a free meditation on my website. I have more. If you like them and get in touch with me, I can feed you all kinds of meditations. But you have to calm yourself and you have to be ready. Like this class that's up and coming, I don't know how many are going to come, and I don't care. It's going to be a Zoom or it's going to be a StreamYard. It's going to be online. You don't leave your home. You don't drive in the rain or the snow. And you don't even have to turn on the photograph. So people in class don't even have to know who you are. It's okay. You can hide until you're ready to blossom. The key is to understand that you're going deep within yourself, your subconscious mind, your heart, your soul, and you're coming out better on the other side. Mm. So we use the book, we use the classes, and I do retreats in Sedona, in Southern California. Last one, we had 6 guests, and we just all went out and had dinner the other night. We bonded, we became friends, we get to talk. We have put ourselves on a messenger with all of us present. And if a subject comes up, we can talk about it. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of ways. Mm-hmm. And there's ways to be private and do private sessions. There's ways to, I even came out of my, the fact that I drank too much. And it was revealing. And how come I did that? And I got to the root of it. And it was so stupid in my mind. But nothing is stupid if it heals you. But it was a something that set me off years ago. And I was able to apologize to my entire family and to my children one at a time about maybe not being the best person they ever knew. And they reassured me that by my honesty, I was the best person they knew.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that transparency because I can see how you talk about yourself. It's like you're not embarrassed to share things that you have like held on to. And that in turn makes your clients and potential clients much more comfortable. Like, okay, she can divulge these things about herself and feel safe doing that. Therefore, I'm okay doing that. A lot of times we see coaches that are like, oh, I've made this transformation and, from point A to point B, but they don't divulge things. And so I think there's a level of comfort when people can say, oh, this person is real and she knows how to get me there because these are the things that she's experienced. So that's certainly something that I've appreciated about you, just like having this conversation in this short amount of time.
It's a matter of not being above anybody else.
Yeah.
Because we all have shadows in our closet.
We all got things
And maybe we brought them from a past life, and this life has been shadowless, but we carry them in our subconscious from a life prior.
Yeah.
That's their piece. We are a puzzle, and it's so rewarding for that day when someone says, "Oh my God, I get it. I got it. I stand by you. I support you. I recommend you." The rewards are endless. And what if we healed the whole dang world? Woo! Wouldn't that be wonderful?
That would be wonderful.
And in time we will.
Yeah.
Because I will come back and do it again if I don't succeed this time.
Thank you so much, Frances. So I went ahead and put your website address in the comments box here. So anybody who's watching this, please reach out to Frances if this speaks to you, if you have a lot of things you want to forgive yourself for and really want to uncover maybe some of the things you aren't aware of. Please visit her website. There's a free meditation on there. You can also, I'm assuming you have like a contact form on there or a way for people to contact you.
And I'm all over social media because I connect with people.
Yeah.
It brings me joy. And I stay away from the uglies.
Thank you so much, Frances, for being here and for sharing your wisdom. We really appreciate you. Thank you, everybody who is tuning in, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Blessings.